Shall we start, Gaurav?
Yeah, I just unmute you. Yes, Madhu ji, आप unmute कर लें अपने आप को. Yes.
Okay. Right?
Yes.
Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, yes, you can start.
Okay. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yeah.
But I can't. Okay, everybody else is muted. I'll start. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I welcome each one of you for this webinar on children and the new normal, organized by Indian Council for Human Relations, ICHR. ICHR is a non-profitable charitable organization and was founded by Dr. L.M. Singhvi in 1990. Since its inception 2 decades back, ICHR has successfully initiated and supported projects on the environment and sustainable development, international relations, and citizen diplomacy. Working towards upliftment, development, and welfare of underprivileged and special children under the project Child in Power, which is the brainchild of our chairperson, Dr. Aruna Abhay Oswal. I would now like to request Aruna ji for a welcome note for our speakers who have taken out their valuable time for this webinar. Aruna ji.
Oh my God, something about the webinar, you could also have spoken something. Okay, fine. Yeah?
Yeah. A lot coming up. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Or should we ask Malhotra ji to speak first? I can wait for some time. Let some more participants join, na?
Okay.
Yeah. Or the agenda,
can...
I can welcome if the agenda is like that. Okay, let me welcome. No problem. Thank you. Thank you, Madhu, and I'm very happy today on behalf of ICHR, our Indian Council of Human Relations. I would like to welcome each one of you for this very, very thoughtful webinar, which is very important for the children and the parents. As we all know that we are going through a very, very bad situation like COVID-19 pandemic. And at this time, everybody wants to do some productive things, maybe something which we can really relate to our daily lives. So we were just thinking which webinar should we take it this time. And I'm so happy that today we have been able to talk about the children and to talk to the parents, then how they can, you know, educate their children sitting at home, like online. This is like a new normal way of living together nowadays, which we all are doing it. As I would like to welcome all the panelists who are there today. And I know everybody, every one of them is expert in their own field. And I am very hopeful that they are going to enlighten us with their knowledge and maybe to the parents and to the children, and of course to us also, then how we can look after the children in these very, very difficult times and how we can lead a new normal life for this COVID-19 period. As we all know, every child is a powerhouse of energy. It is we who need to know how to best utilize their energy to construct their future and how to make them busy, feel busy, even at sitting at home. And if I talk about I would like to talk about ICHR also, something about that, because this association which I'm talking about, our Council of Human Relations, as Madhu already told, that it is a very, very old one, not a new one. And we believe in having diplomatic relations. We believe to have some interfaith webinars so that we can find peace in the societies, in the communities, and in the world altogether. And when I joined as a chairperson for this Indian Council of Human Relations, I thought we should do something socially also for children. So that's why CIP name came forward, that is Child in Power. And from that time onwards, maybe now 5 to 6 years or maybe 7 years from that time onwards, we have been doing a lot of work for the children. And I am very happy to say that all our members who are, some are life members, some have just joined now and some are still joining. They're very committed to work for children. They're very committed to their responsibilities. And each member is contributing a lot to make it happen. And I would like to welcome all the members who have joined today. And I would like to thank Madhu, first of all, Madhu Richi, because she really thought of this concept of doing something with children and parents and teachers, of course. And then I would like to thank Malhotra ji, who is the backbone of our this association. Malhotra ji अगर नहीं आते हैं तो लगता है कि हमारा ये काम अधूरा रह गया. तो Malhotra ji, आपका inspiration is always great for us. And of course, Gaurav Gupta, who is always ready to admin the webinars and who is always ready to do the work which we always give him. And I would like to thank today Rajiv Kumar ji, who has joined. Maybe he will be giving vote of thanks, or maybe he will be talking something about that. But we have our members also, Professor Minhas ji, who is going to talk about, because he's running a school and he teaches a lot of children. So I think he can put more light how we can make the children happier in these COVID-19 times. Here I would like to talk about Special Olympics International for sure, because Mukta has joined today with us. I can understand during these times of COVID-19, it is very difficult to handle those children who are with the intellectual disabilities. And I think, Mukta, it will be a very big challenge for each one of you. And we would like to know from you how you are handling them. And I would like to welcome Air Marshal, who has joined us. And I hope, I got a email from our Special Olympics International from David, that he's also going to join this webinar today. Whenever they will join, we're going to welcome them personally. And with these words, I would like to welcome each one of you and thank you for your presence. And I'm very, very sure and confident that even I'm going to learn today lots from all these intellectuals who have joined us today as a panelist. So thank you so much. Again, a warm welcome. And over to Madhu to take it forward. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your encouraging words. And now, year 2020, pandemic, corona, COVID-19, quarantine, coronials. These words have been the new vocabulary for all of us. From suddenly being locked down to washing our hands, wearing masks, using sanitizers crazily, death numbers increasing, economy shattering, and all such headlines. We adults found it difficult to understand and cope up with it. We had anxiety issues, fears, depressions, but we had to learn to accept, deal with it, and live with the new normal. In all this so-called new normal, what about the children? Children who have been only observing adults and doing what they have been imposed and taught for staying home and staying safe. Learning to sit for long screen lessons without a classroom. Yes, children have been through their own tough journey. This pandemic has really got us all thinking. I'm sure it's time for introspection. What kind of future we can really prepare our children for when we ourselves have been taken off guard? We don't know what kind of world are we heading for. Let us discuss with our expert speakers of the day for the way forward. Maybe start with Dr. Shivangi, who's a parent. She's a mother of 2 young boys, a dental surgeon in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, a psycho-spiritual coach for Indian women worldwide. She has become the pioneer Indian vlogger with videos touching more than 10 million on Facebook and around 2 million on YouTube. She's honored with titles like the Magnet to Happiness, Inspiring Gems of India, The Logical Indian, Mrs. India Worldwide 2014, Mrs. Heritage World 2015, Femina Gorgeous 2016, and the list goes on and on. So Shivangi, tell us, you being a working mother, how did you cope up with the children at home during lockdown? Shivangi.
Shivangi, please unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
Shivangi, unmute yourself.
Yes, I have done it. So, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Madhuji and Arunaji, for having me here, first of all. And yes, nowadays I feel most of us women, we are handling both the fields, that is inside the house as well as outside the house. And during the lockdown, being a medical professional, I was not really locked down. I was still handling my hospital front, and I isolated myself from my family for some time as well. So this COVID period, I feel we all need to see it as more than a lockdown or more than anything which has been impinged upon us. I feel it's the need of the hour to see it as an opportunity to think out of the box, an opportunity to actually start living uh, with a different prospect towards our life, an opportunity to change our paradigms altogether. Because I have done that for myself. Out of the box thinking, as in, I'll take it point by point. Out of the box thinking, as in, when now I have to spend my time with my children. Firstly, it used to be, beforehand, before in the pre-COVID era, let's name it like that. I used to spend time with my children, taking them out, roaming around in malls or maybe parks, gardens, enjoying the scenic beauties, etc. Outdoor games most of the time. But now the outdoors have been restricted. And I find my queens, that is the parents, the mothers of the children, complaining mostly about how to deal with the increased screen timing of our children, how to deal with it. कैसे उनको कम किया जाए? They're always in front of the television or maybe their laptop. और तो और पढ़ाई भी आजकल लैपटॉप या फोन के ऊपर होने लग गई है, तो इसको कैसे हैंडल किया जाए? Now I feel that it's time that we start thinking differently. When we are here, when we are indoors, we can actually inculcate a lot of what do you say, togetherness, a sense of family, eating together, sitting together, drinking together, playing indoor games together. More so, we have ended up converting our dining table into a table tennis table. So we have, involved a lot of things inside the house. I have brought so many plants inside the house because I want to teach my children gardening during this period. If they can't just go out in the garden to, plant a small planter, a small plantlet here and there, or maybe take care of the planters, I have brought them inside the house. We have started redecorating our house with the bare minimum things which were available. So this way, somehow, I am trying to think out of the box and create newer activities with my children. Secondly, how to maintain a balance being a professional mother. I feel mindfulness, bringing mindfulness into our activities. Like right now, I just want to share it out with you people. Being a vulnerable human being, I find it very easy to talk out my truth to the people. So right now, both my in-laws are suffering from COVID.
Really?
I have because my father-in-law, being a dialysis patient, he has to visit hospitals regularly, because of which he got infected, and from him, my mother-in-law also got infected. I have again isolated, along with my kids, myself, I have isolated into a different home altogether. And I was not sure if I'll be able to attend this seminar, on the first hand today. But I felt it's again an opportunity to think out of the box, to share this experience at least with people, that anything is possible only if we take things positively in our hands. अगर कुछ बदल नहीं सकते हैं तो एटलीस्ट हम अपना रिस्पॉन्स बदल सकते हैं सिचुएशन के प्रति. तो अपना रिस्पॉन्स बदलना है. अपने रिस्पॉन्स को, ये एक टाइम चल रहा है, इस टाइम को हम रो के, कंप्लेन करके, ग्रज करके भी निकाल सकते हैं. एंड ऑन द सेम प्लेट, ऑन द सेम प्लेन, we can just follow a separate response pattern on our own. We can just stay happy, keep counting our blessings, keep seeing what we have in our hand, what we can do in this time, and spend more and more time with ourselves in our growth, in our self-growth. We have time for the first time in our life. We have so much time to read books, to actually get involved in some self-developing activities. And there is so much virtual help available all of a sudden for all of us, this webinar being one such virtual help. So there is so much to actually focus upon rather than, just watching the continuous news on COVID-19, how it is changing people's life or making it tougher or more difficult. There is so much more to life, and there's so much more to the digital media and its use. So why not just change our paradigm for a change the paradigm and use this digital media for the goodness, for spreading positivity, and for making this time easier for people rather than making it more and more difficult and challenging.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well said, Shivani. Thank you so much. Yes, they say the deepest journey is within, and this is an opportunity to make the best of it. With this, wishing your in-laws a very speedy recovery.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Really, thank you. Amongst all your issues, you managed to come on board with us. Thank you
it's
so
an
much.
honor. Thank you. I'm able to contribute something that's a very big thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And now moving on to Dr. Minhas. Gaurav, has Dr. Minhas joined us?
Yes, he's there.
Yeah, I'm very much there.
Okay, yes. Moving on to Dr. Minhas.
Madhu, just a request. When they are going to talk, you also need to mute yourself.
Okay. Okay.
We can hear all your throats and everything.
Yeah, suddenly it came up.
Yeah, so
I'll do that. So Dr. Minhas, who is an educationist with more than 42 years in teaching, he's been the principal director of various institutions for over 3 decades. Let me ask Dr. Minhas, who's currently the principal of Guru Nanak Public School, please let us know how difficult it has been for the school management to set up online classes and how school students and the teachers adapted to the new system of online classes. Dr. Minhas.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank Dr. Shivani. She spoke too well. Certain things I wanted to come out with it, she has already come up with it. She really taught us many things, not only to the students, but teachers as well as also. Online teaching, it was a challenging task for most of the teachers and parents. Because COVID-19 came suddenly, computer teachers and teacher dealing information good enough in the computer, but most of the teachers, say about 90%, they were not very well versed with the computer technology. Similarly, parents at home, most of the parents, say about 80% of the parents, they were not good into computers also. And there were big challenges. Challenges like they got only one laptop or one computer at home. They got 2 students or 3 children at home to study on single computer. The timings of teaching by teachers is different. Then Wi-Fi problem, internet connection is there, that's problem. And people could not arrange for the computers or even the cell phone for the teaching. That was a drawback of the technology. 100% online classes are not successful to this day. I can say about 75% classes are going very well. And some of the largest cities has also come down. Teachers, they take their own time to sit down on the given time. Maybe they are late by 5 or 10 minutes. Students, they do come out easily out of the bed to sit down. And they are most pampered by the parents at home, compel them to come and sit down. And at times, parents, they need to sit with the children along when the classes are going on. They can't sit independently. These are some of the challenges. But then, of course, I said, a lot of things to be learned. COVID-19 have taught us so many things to find alternative ways. So we are now at cross ends, look into that areas, how we nurture I still remember when we were students, we were in the ground floor playing all the sports. But now just because of restrictions in the grounds and the parks, of course, COVID cannot move out with a mask in emergency situation. You have to go out. Certain limitations are there, but at home also, let the child do something, play on the carrom boards, cards, or Ludo, or even chess, or also let him draw something. Let him draw this, do sketching. Let him write some poems. Let him give some independent topic. Give him an independent topic so that he come up something different. I remember I got my grandson. I asked him to come with the mother, pay a visit my Nanadi, right? I'm a Nana of that child. The child is 5 years only. So मैंने बोला you come with the mother, why don't you come? He told me, Nana, there's COVID in the market. How can I come out? I said, you have to sit in the car, ask your mother to drive. Said, no, no, no. On the way, there are police people. They will force us to stop and take a U-turn and go back. See, the learning part of child of 5 years is getting to know all these things which otherwise we were not aware about when we were small children. So COVID has taught us so many things. And what are the values at home, what values we acquired, what more we can acquire from our parents, plus how to face the challenges in life. This is another challenge when the children sitting at home, they're coping up with the stress from the parents, from the sides, left and right. They're coming up, they're learning, they're doing, they're becoming mature also. And Corona has taught us, kuch Corona, find a way out, alternative means to survive. And it has added to the positivity. We are very much positive. Sooner or later, it will go away. Even now, we are adapted and adopting to the environment. Nothing to worry about. Challenges are there. Children will face, students will face, teachers will face, parents will face, and we all are facing. But still, I'm positive that will come out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Minhas. I completely agree with you. Studying in isolation is no fun. There was quite an insight and reality check of not having enough data or laptops, especially every family cannot afford so many equipments. The positive point is Corona, kuch to Corona.
Yes.
I'm sure this all will be over very soon. And now I request Dr. Shailu Singh, who is Assistant Professor at the Department of Economics, Hansraj College, Delhi University, with teaching experience of 3 decades. Shailu.
Thank you so much, Madhu. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to this webinar. And I must say that both the speakers before me have added such a positivity to this entire thing that whatever little doubt perhaps I had in my mind about me being stuck up in a situation seemed to be kind of alleviating a little bit. So I could talk about, I think I need to talk about my experience with Corona as an educationist and as somebody who's teaching grown-up children versus younger children. So at Delhi University, I think we are really hard hit by Corona. So we have just about barely finished taking the exams of people who are in their final semester right now. We are in the process of trying to correct their scripts and so that we can give them their final marks and they can go ahead with their lives. So that is one thing we are struggling with. Our first years have not yet joined the system. We are still working on only 2 semesters. So we are having a tough time from that point of view. But all the same, I think it's very heartening to see how we all as a society have been trying to cope with this COVID-19. So as Dr. Shivani said, with such a positive note, I think I would like to add a line which I think read somewhere in one of the books I've been reading. Oh yes, I've started reading a lot of books, Dr. Shivani. I've joined a book club and I've read about 6 books till now, which I hadn't done, fiction. In a long time, I hadn't done that. And I've been doing that. And one of the books that I read, I think it said, if you don't master your circumstances, then the circumstances will master you. So I think all of us are basically engaged in doing that, trying to master our circumstances. And I think teachers right now are the most active and the most serious students. I mean, look at the way teachers have taken on the challenge of online teaching. I mean, all of us are all the time, even teachers who didn't know how to switch on a computer, senior teachers who've always used the chalk and board and the duster medium of teaching, are now working on MS Teams, fixing your calendars and, you know, sharing screen and doing all that stuff with such elan. So I think we all have come a long way, and we have adapted to the requirements of the situation right now, I think in a huge way. And all teachers, I think, all teachers, be it school teachers or college teachers, deserve a lot of applause for that. Now, having said that, I think I want to just highlight on some of the problems that I've come across of students. So some of the, the differential impact of this COVID and how we are coping with it on different categories and from different points of view. So I think, first of all, there are equity considerations, as people have already mentioned, Dr. Minhas mentioned. There are students who differ in terms of resources. So some of them don't have access to network, they don't have access to hardware. Some teachers don't have access to hardware at home. Some people don't have access to space. So when you're teaching, I mean, how long can a student keep others mute in the house if they just have one room to live in? So there are these situations where we deal with where students are differentially affected. So I think, of course, all the affluent people who have resources, who have space, I mean, for them, I would say that this online teaching, and in fact, I took a little survey in one of my classes one day. So the majority of the students felt that the teaching learning process is going on much better. They said that, you know, we're not distracted by our fellow students. There is only a professor and me, and that's where the interaction is happening. So a lot of learning is going on from that point of view. But they miss their friends, of course, which, I mean, that's an experience that nobody can replace. So that way, those who have the resources, I think, are being benefited by this new system. You don't waste any time in transporting. You don't waste any time in kind of, any other kind of, there are no wastages happening over here. But of course, those who don't have the resources, they don't get to get the online teaching. In fact, I have a student of mine who's in Ladakh. In fact, just 5 minutes back, he called to tell me that, ma'am, I have all the resources and everything, but I'm not able to join on the classes often. So if there are marks for attendance, I will lose on that. So I told him that you put a mail to the principal informing the principal that, you know, you're not able to attend classes, but you're getting all the material. So those issues are there. And then there are also, very interestingly, gender issues. So when the students are at home, it has come to my notice that there are times when the girl of the house is expected to leave her classes and help the mother in the household chores, whereas the boys are not really asked to do that. So a girl pointed that out to me, that, ma'am, I have a problem that because I'm at home, I'm expected to help my mom in the housework, and therefore I'm not able to concentrate. So that's a gender kind of connotation to this whole issue, that the impact is differential on the basis of gender as well. So these are some of the challenges, I think. But at the same time, you know, there are the good things, which is, as I said, extreme concentration of students and of teachers. And then, of course, the lower congestion that we are causing by not being out on the roads to go to work, the pollution, and all of these things are the positive fallouts of this whole corona episode. And I think every problem brings with it an opportunity. So I think as educationists, we really need to work very hard on formulating some kind of a hybrid policy, which tries to bring both together. That, you know, we can somehow combine online teaching with some bit of offline teaching, so that the students get their experience of going to college. At the same time, they get their experience of, you know, focused, concentrated learning. I think that would be something that would really improve the educational system. So I think that's what we all are trying to work towards. And let's hope and pray that we are soon out of this and once again back on track. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shailu. Of course, very well said that we have blessings and flip side to it also. No replacement of campus experience, of course, but let's really hope that we have a balance of online and offline classes soon. With this, we move on to a life coach and a motivational speaker, editor, trainer, social activist, and counselor, Ramita Taneja. What are the various facts? Ramita, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello, Madhu.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hi,
I can hear
Ramita.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another enterprising speaker. Ramita, I would like to ask you, what are the various effects on children's general behavior? How, as a parent, can you tackle or support the child while working from home yourself? How to identify triggers and cope up with them?
First of all, thank you so much. Thank you for calling me on this very, very nice conversation. I'm listening to everybody, and it's such a pleasure to see that not just the speakers, but parents are here. You know, generally I get to hear from parents that no parent is a bad parent, and I completely agree. But as a counselor, I have to often tell them that parent is never a bad parent. You will always do the best for your child. But when it comes to an expert advice, you may give him the best of the hostel, you may give him the best of the hospital, the best of the school. But it is the teacher or the doctor or the counselor or anybody who is the expert who will tell you that whether you're going on the right track. So being a counselor, I always tell them that, there's no harm taking a help, professional help for anything. So my sincere thanks to all those parents who are here and who think that there is always something to learn about whenever you hear some experts speak in this. So thanks parents than anybody else. And thank you, of course, Madhu, and thank you, the organizers, for calling me here. Prioritizing the mental health of children and young people throughout this pandemic and beyond is very, very critical. There are wide variations in how children and young people have taken this up. So there are a lot of research and we've seen that it is the younger ones who are more affected than the elder ones. The younger ones are more affected because they are unable to cope up with the fears of loneliness and the loss of routine. So as a parent, it is very important that you give them a reassurance and effective coping strategies. Now, when I say effective coping strategies, I mean a strategy. You cannot answer to a child saying that, don't worry, beta, mama hai na, dekh legi. So don't worry, we are there na, agar kuch hoga to doctor hai. So these are not the effective coping strategies. Effective coping strategy is when you answer to the child in his age appropriate understanding. You have to get down to the level of the child. You have to tell him that whatever, as per the age, you have to tell him the appropriate answer. What is virus? How is it spreading? How do you save yourself? Everything. But don't get paranoid with it. If you are scared, the child is going to be more scared. So please be very careful as to what and how much you tell the child and how much is he able to understand. Like the opening statement, very well said by Aruna ma'am, is like a child is a powerhouse. He has so many questions, and most of them may be irrational as per you. Don't treat them as irrational. They are very important because as per his age, that's the curiosity that the child has. If you do not quench his curiosity, he may go on to another level and not understand and maybe get into further depression. So please quench his curiosity, whatever, irrational, rational, whatever it is. I know it gets overwhelming at times, but if you do not answer to that child, then the quality of life, the physical health, and the relationship, everything gets affected. So please answer to the child with effective coping strategies. You asked me a question as to how is that impacted the child. Now, being a counselor, I'll be a little more elaborate in things. So please pardon me on that. I am used to speaking in elaborate answers. So first of all, let me tell you, how does it affect the child? This entire thing, how it's affected the children. There is a lot of fear in children. There is a lot of anxiety. And anxiety and fear is what we have created in them. Because we have got so much of access to TV, news, overuse of internet, too much discussion about the topic. You have somebody at home, you start talking about COVID. You go out, you start talking about it. You have a phone call, you start talking about it. So as a parent, please understand, this is a topic of discussion, agreed, but you can't do it over and over again in front of the child because you're creating an atmosphere of too much of fear in him. So please do not over discuss this thing. Not every time on every dining table, every meal you're discussing COVID. Please don't do it. Don't create a negative environment in the house. It's very important to have a very, very positive environment. And most important, don't get paranoid. It's important to be healthy. It's important to have a healthy atmosphere. What parents have started doing, what I have seen in some parents is they have gone so much into hand washing, face washing, gel laga lo, sanitize karo, glove pehno, bahar mat jao, ye mat karo. Agreed, you have to take precautions. But if you get so paranoid, there's a very thin line between cleanliness and OCD. OCD is a disease. Cleanliness is a routine. So please have it as a routine. If you want to tell your child to be safe, then tell the child how he has to be safe in holistic way. Don't have to tell the child कि कोरोना में कैसे safe है. एक तरफ आप उसको सारा जेल लगा रहे हो, सब कुछ कर रहे हो, दूसरी तरफ आप उसको पिज्जा खिला रहे हो, आप उसको unhealthy diet दे रहे हो. What is the point? So if you have to treat the child well, then I can see a smile on the child's face, but that's okay. So treat the child well holistically and tell them how to be healthy in a complete manner. You will see a lot of children get clingy at this time. They want to cling on to their parents, or they want to, take their attention. They are very attention seekers. They start throwing tantrums. They have emotional problems and they have a lack of concentration. All these are very, very normal things that parents must have seen. Why they are getting clingy onto you is because you are giving them an overprotected environment. You are telling them, don't go out, don't speak to this person, wear a mask. Please don't do that. You are very welcome to have a nice environment, a conductive environment, but don't be overdoing that. Because once you get back to the routine of your life, it is going to be very difficult for the child to adjust to the new norm of going back to that life. Give it some time. Take out maybe half an hour, 1 hour, or whatever time you can take out, but let it be undisrupted. At that time, please put your phones away. Please put the calls away. Please put your cooking away. Please put the cleaning away. Put everything away. The child should be a priority at that time. Just speak to him, talk about his problems, his effects, whatever he's feeling. And what I understand is there are 3 basic households where the children are more affected. One of them is when a parent or any parent or both the parents are rendering services like the maybe the doctors or the frontline warriors. Here the child gets more impacted than the other children because he has now seen how much care and how much precaution the parent is taking. So, the child starts feeling ki, yes, there is something wrong in this virus because my parents are doing this, they're wearing PPE suits, they're not coming back home for so long. So these kind of children get more impacted than the other ones who have parents back home. The second set is when you have somebody in the family who has been in a lockdown, maybe a spouse or maybe a sibling who's been in a hostel and has not been able to come back home. So children of these households also get more affected because they see that there is a movement restriction also. And the third level is when somebody in the family is infected. So when they see that somebody in the family who's infected has been put into isolation and, you can't even go to them, you can't even speak to them, you have to put the food also outside the door. This kind of a fear starts coming up in a child. He starts feeling that, agar mere saath ho gaya to. And that is very important for the child to understand that is why I said it is very important to give a very age appropriate answer, to tell him that what are the problems, how you will tackle it, but please give him the right reassurances. The effect gets intensified when there is too much of internet. There is too much of talk around the house. There's too much of negative environment. So, Madhu, if you allow me, I can tell you how to make the changes and
Ramita, we have more speakers on board and I'm sorry, I'll have to cut you short here, but we would love to hear you again in another platform very soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. So 2 points out of what you just said. Do not see too much of news, which creates a lot of negative environment, and do seek help if you need. Don't feel shy. If you think you need help, reach out to your family, friends, counselors, whatsoever. Thank you so much, Ramita. That was quite informative. Okay, now moving on to Ms. Mukta Narayan Thind. Mukta is the National Director at the Special Olympics Bharat. Mukta.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have a challenging role with special need children who are differently abled. Tell us, what are the steps taken by your organization to keep these children engaged productively, and how?
Thank you, Madhu ma'am, and thank you, Aruna ma'am, for having us here. So, for people who do not know about Special Olympics Bharat, Special Olympics Bharat is an organization which works with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And this is a hidden population. And we in India are working with 1.5 million children. So, as we say that it's a hidden population and it's a huge task to get them out of the house. But this pandemic has brought us all back inside. So the effort which was going on from so long to take them out has actually fizzled it to a very big extent. So, and we at Special Olympics, we also feel that sports is a catalyst which can bring best in the people with IDD because it helps in giving them physical fitness, also helps them in concentration exercises, also helps them in many other skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills. So now the sports is the most affected because you're not going out, you're not playing, you're not doing anything, and it's most tough to tell this to the children with IDD because they do not understand that why do we need mask. They do not understand that why do we need to keep on washing hands. So it's a tough challenge, and but we have our opportunities, and the opportunities which have come is the most important is the family time, because in the today's world, we all are working so much. Padma was also saying that I'm such a frequent traveler. So everyone has that kind of a situation at home. But this pandemic has brought everybody back home. So it has actually helped in creating better interpersonal relationships in the families. So we have created a lot of sibling forums now. We had our youth leader forums where we were encouraging youth leaders from the schools and universities to come out and promote inclusion. But now this pandemic has actually helped us in creating sibling forums where the siblings are working out with their sibling with the IDD and the parents who are working out with their children, which was not happening. Everybody was going to the office, nobody had a workout time, nobody had a play time. So, and there are many fitness challenges, there are dance sport which is coming up, there are skill challenges, and all the games have come back, which were indoors. So that has actually helped. And we have also helped them actually encouraged the creativity on the use of space, technique, and skill. So a skill is done through a webinar. Most of our athlete leaders are now all tech savvy. They are ready to join a webinar. They can ask you a question. They can wait patiently and listen to you. And they understand their terms, that they need to have their turn. How do they raise their hands to ask a question? So they have become a lot of technology savvy. And on the top of it, when we do a webinar on any subject, they have their own free accounts of Zoom. So they will conduct their own discussion forums on that 30-minute free Zoom sessions, which is obviously out of the adult eyes because they want to discuss it on their own. So our athlete leaders and our youth leaders, they have actually come out a long way. We don't know what is the percentage of the population which we have actually touched in the online thing. But the way we are getting the responses, literally every state of India has come on board with their own programs which are virtual, whether it is for an age group 4 to 5 or above. And the best thing is that the children who were moving out of the school have come back to the fold because it's all virtual. So that is one of the best thing which has happened to Visva Bharat, that the children who were moving out of the fold because of their movement out of the institution or a school, and we know that people with IDD do not make much to the universities and colleges. They go to the vocational centers and things like that. So the children who can do it and the families who can support, they're all back into the fold. And the way our athlete leadership base is strengthening, it's really heartening to see. And now we've got so many stories around. So that's it from Special Olympics.
Thank you so much, Mukta. I believe no boundaries for special athletes. You know, they are all over on the digital world.
Yes.
And let's not lose heart. It's an innate nature of human beings to bounce back, be innovative, like the way you've explained stories. So let's keep moving.
Yeah.
With this,
Madhu, just 1 minute, I can relate with Mukta that yes, we had experience of the Special Olympics Bharat just outside, you know, how we can go see their unified sports and something like that. But the new thing which you have described, that they are joining online also, virtually.
digital world.
So I think this is a great training for them. I think it's a great thing, and opportunity is being utilized very nicely. I mean, this diversity into opportunity. So Mukta, thank you so much, and really, really, you're doing wonderful. Great. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And now we have a little star sitting next to Mukta. He is Arnav. He is 11 years of age and studying in class 6 in Sardar Patel Vidyalaya. So it's all about you guys, the children. So we thought we'll hear it directly from the little stars. Arnav, how do you feel? Hi. Are you liking your online classes?
No, I'm not liking my online classes because all of the day we have to sit in front of the laptop.
Oh my God. No play fields, missing your school and teachers and friends?
Yeah, a lot.
What is the one thing that you miss the most?
Friends.
Oh, friends. And the canteen? No.
No.
The playground.
Yeah,
the playground. We miss the playground a lot.
Playground. Wonderful. We really hope that things get better soon and you happily go back to your school, Arnav. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mama.
Okay. And now let me introduce our next speaker, Ms. Neela Dwivedi, who is an assistant professor at Heinz College at the Carnegie Mellon University, United States. Prior to that, she worked as an instructor at Penn State University in the College of Information Sciences and Technology. Before moving into academics, she spent over 20 years in the IT industry. Neelam, thank you so much once again for joining us early morning from Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Madhu. Thank you, Arunaji, and all the organizers of this event. I'm very happy and honored to be invited to this panel for a very important conversation that we all need to have on a regular basis. So thank you for that.
Neelam, I have a question. If you allow me, I have a question.
Sure.
Confusions and delusions of the virtual world. We would love to hear from you about your experience with your students at the University of Carnegie Mellon. Do you think the response and behavior of students from the lockdown to the new normal looks similar globally? What is their reaction on that side of the world?
Yes, it looks similar globally. We all feel the pain. And in fact, I was listening to all the speakers and they absolutely echo what we are going through here. There are slight variations, minor differences in terms of the culture, the country, the economic situations that my students have versus some children in India and in the rest of the world. So the place where I teach, the Heinz College, that is a master's program college. So students come to our college from all over the world. Mostly from Asia though, mostly from Asia, many from India, a huge percentage. And so far, you know, when I was asked to teach them online, I was kind of stubborn, and I have tested and tried out my teaching techniques, and I want to continue in the same way. And it was hard for me to realize that many of those things won't work. And so I had to now rethink my teaching strategy and move past the complaining phase that, you know, teaching, how can I teach online? I need to be with students. And I teach software engineering courses. So there is a lot of hands-on computer work, and I need to monitor what they are doing, help them on their computers. How can I do this remotely? So I was in that complaining mode. And then I told myself that that's not going to help anybody. And so then I switched on to thinking about positivity, as everyone has been saying, moving on to looking at obstacles, like COVID as obstacles, and thinking about COVID as maybe an opportunity to create a different world. I, in fact, heard somewhere in an advertisement one phrase which has kind of stuck in my head, and that is, you know, the world has come to a standstill, and this is the best time to change it. So I am now trying to see how can I change things now that all of us are looking for a change. We are all ready and open and receptive to accept change, because that gives us hope. That means we are open to creativity. We are ready to change our ways. And in fact, one more thing I often think about is, I don't know if you know a little bit about history, 16th century, 15th, 16th, 17th century, there was a huge movement in Europe, Renaissance. You may have heard of this term. And a lot of good things came out of that phase. Most of it were science and creativity, music, art, literature. And now that all of us are doing a little more of art, a little more of cooking, a little more of creating, we have suddenly become, or rather realized, our creative selves. We are doing more of that, which we were not doing before. We were just busy running around. So I think in a way, we are in a very creative time, and that's what I would like to think about. And this is a great opportunity, especially for younger generation, to look at the problem, not as a problem, but as an opportunity, come up with solutions. For example, I teach computer programming, and we use Zoom. Well, Zoom was never designed for teaching classes. Zoom was designed for meetings like the one we are having right now. I don't like to teach over Zoom. So we have so many software innovations happening all over around us. I'm sure there are people who are thinking about now creating software that is meant especially for teaching not only computer programming, but teaching history, teaching chemistry, teaching physics. All these disciplines require their own specific platform because they have their own specific pedagogies. So again, time for innovation, time for creativity. I just want to briefly talk about how I teach. So I have a combination of synchronous and asynchronous, and you see maps behind me. I set this up for my class because I have students joining my class 8 a.m. in the morning from all over the world. And I tell them, look, I know this is an international class. I show them the maps, and I kind of try to create that, look, we are together, and I ask them to join. So to create the synchronous togetherness. I also give them asynchronous videos to watch. I have created those videos for them so that if they are having any bandwidth issues, they can watch them later. I ask them to switch on their videos if they can so that they feel that it's a formal setting. And one thing I did different is earlier when I used to teach in my campus, they used to come to my office hours just if they had any questions, or I would just briefly talk to them walking down the hallway. Now, I invite them for a chit chat. And we don't talk about course, we talk about which movie did you watch? Because I want them to feel part of the university. They may be anywhere in the world, but they are now connected with me, with their peers, and that I think it helps. I think it helps. And one last thing before I close, I often think of the story. So I'm going to read this out because the words are beautiful. One day, a man was walking along the beach when he noticed a boy picking something up and gently throwing it into the ocean. Approaching the boy, he asked, "What are you doing?" The youth replied, "Throwing starfish back into the ocean. The surf is up and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them back, they will die." "Son," the man said, "don't you realize there are miles and miles of beach and hundreds of starfish? You can't make a difference." After listening politely, the boy bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it back into the surf. Then, smiling at the man, he said, "I made a difference to that one." So this story is actually by an American philosopher, Lauren Isley, and I often think of when I help a student, maybe it won't make much of a difference, but what if it does? So I feel like that star thrower. So let's not feel like that fish waiting for a star thrower to come and save us. Let's be the starfish throwers, finding a fish that needs help and throwing it back into the ocean. And maybe we'll also find our own oceans when helping others this way. Thank you so much. That's all I had to say.
Thank you so much, Neelam. Time to change, and yes, we are ready. We are all in it together. We are turning back to roots and getting nurtured for future. Let's take it like that. Let's look forward to many more innovations. Thank you so much once again. And now, something very, very interesting and innovative already on board. That is a sound therapist. We welcome Nitika Sablok. Let us hear from you on today's topic of discussion. How does the sound therapy help?
Namaste and good evening to everyone. Thank you for this kind introduction. And so much said and done by such doctors, psychologists, and trainers on board. And I feel so much has been said, like Mukta ji said, that sports really help these children, you know, in such a time. And even Shaluji, Shalu, if I'm pronouncing it right, said that earlier the teachers were already, you know, interacting face to face physically with the kids. And now they are all learning the new concepts of being online on Zoom meetings, on MS Teams. Yes, agree, it's time for change. Even, Dr. Neelam just now said that people are trying to get music, art, literature into their lives. So yes, definitely it's a time for change. Many people accept this change, many people don't. So I would say all the kids are different and they are unstoppable. You can't keep them, you know, bound in this time, but still we are blessed that all the kids are coping with it very nicely. But me, like being a sound trainer, a lot of people come to me with lot of stress. अब situation आ गई है जब cope नहीं हो पा रहा. What is stress? It is the pressure of the situation and your coping ability. So what sound does, it helps in increasing that coping ability by decreasing your stress. So like Mukta ji said, sports helps. How? Because lots of doctors on board here. I'm definitely not a doctor, but yes, I know certain things help to release in certain hormones like dopamines, oxytocins, serotonins, and endorphins. These are all secreted in the body naturally. This instrument is so precious. God has designed it so beautifully that it has the cope to, has the coping ability to take care of it automatically. So when a person is already stressed and he is already dealing with certain disabilities or certain challenges, what do? Either we do exercise or we try a new thing like Dr. Neelam said, we try art. Art is therapeutic. Cooking is therapeutic. Playing is therapeutic. Sound is therapeutic. That's what I do. So when the kid is not even born, it's in the mother's womb, it can hear the heartbeat of the mother. Duk, 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 duk. That is the time when it starts knowing that this is my mother, you know. And when the kid comes out, if the 6 months child is given to another person, so the child knows this is not my mother. How? Because he can understand the smell, the 5 senses, the smell and the feel and the hearing capacity of the mother's heartbeat. So sound is so important. So sound therapy helps a lot during these times. If we make it a practice in the home to dance together as a family, to sing together as a family, and me being a healer, we have so many online Zoom sessions where we are giving people trainings how to increase your oxygen level in the brain. अगर brain में oxygen level अच्छा है, तो कोपिंग एबिलिटी भी बढ़ेगी, आप स्ट्रेस्ड नहीं रहेंगे. जब आप स्ट्रेस्ड होते हो, देयर इज अ फाइट एंड फ्लाइट सिचुएशन, suddenly you get, your breath goes up and your oxygen level comes down. So what all these things which are happening, which I call blessing in disguise, to learn new things in the world by doing things like doing an art form, or you know, going into pottery, taking a calligraphy course, or taking up a challenge. Like, we were not very much into going into the technology part. Now it is becoming necessary because everything is become digital. So like Dr. Neelam said, we can take up a nice coding course or something like that if you have interest in that. Because when you do something which makes you happy, it decreases your stress level. So when we do sound healing, if somebody comes to us that we can't sleep, this is the major issue people are having. The kids sleep at 2 a.m. at night, which is not good for the body clock according to Ayurveda. So if you're not sleeping on time, your good hormones are not secreted, you will not wake up on time, everything will go hayway. So there are people who come to us that our kids can't sleep. So we do a sound session, we do dance sessions, we make them, their energies run out through sound and dancing. So this is where how our sound helps. And we have courses where we do breath work, which is very important. We do certain Om chantings and certain sounds like U and Ma, because we can do a gymming for the body, but we don't have anything which can do for the brain. So these vibratory modes help to vibrate your brain nerves and get you to a calmer level. Yes, definitely, I am the one who's very different in today's forum because there are a lot of doctors. But yes, happiness is a very big quotient in today's time. If the family sits together, dances together, plays together, eats together with good emotions, many things will be solved. Recently we have found a thing which is called the hopscotch. If you guys know, there are a lot of mothers here. बच्चों को बाहर जाना allowed नहीं है. हमारे time पे हम स्टैपू खेला करते थे. So somebody has introduced this new game which is called the hopscotch. It's like a staffu. So when you do that, it's like a physical exercise and kids enjoy it. So this is how you can engage your kids and make the children more stress-free in this environment till this COVID ends, till this pandemic ends. And we wish and pray that everything becomes normal all around the world. So that's what I do. I cure people with sound. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the sound lady. That was very interesting to hear too. And now we have Anna with us. Anna, can you turn on your camera? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Am I audible?
Anna?
Hello?
Yes. Hi, Anna.
Yes. Hello.
So welcome to the session. And let's hear directly from a young, bright student studying in class 12 who's ambitious, has dreams, goals, but in this unprecedented situation. Let us find out how is she coping up with the uncertainty and lack of clarity. Anna, let's hear it from you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Mehrish. I am from grade 12 Modern School, Vasant Vihar. As a child, I remember wishing for longer vacations and no school. But this coronacation is definitely something which I did not ask for. Being a part of batch 2021, we've made it so far. We were so close to getting the experience of all the exciting events and traditions like Teachers' Day or even our farewell. But COVID-19 had other plans. My parents are working most of the time, and as an only child, I try my best to stay sane by blasting music and binge watching shows. Other times, I try to call my friends and pass time doing school assignments. We have online school now, but it doesn't feel the same. Studying from home is not easy, and my studying habits from home are not the best. I procrastinate easily, and having class in the bedroom is not the best idea. I personally have 4 hours of school every day instead of the usual 6, and somehow it feels much more tiring. I'm in the comfort of my home all the time, but even having to attend school for a few hours, it feels monotonous and I just cannot sit still. This year is full of unpredictability. It is possible that I don't even have my board exams, and that means my internal marks will matter more. This has put so much of a strain on me because instead of just focusing on my board marks, I have to now focus on my internals and make sure I score. I don't get time for breaks, and it's taken a big toll on my mental health. To say that this virus has completely changed my day-to-day living would be an understatement. I went from having to do things from 7 a.m. in the morning till about 10 in the night to doing absolutely nothing most of the days. Quarantine has just seemed to chop off most of my fun part of my year. Physically, it's reduced a lot of my daily activity where the only exercise I get is walking around my room or just dancing to music I'm listening to. Emotionally, it's also been very straining. I miss most of my close friends and I often feel very lonely. Seeing people outside of my family is what keeps me sane, especially people who are close to me. Even though we're going through this time filled with all types of uncertainty, I feel like the only learning outcome I've had from this has just been introspection and understanding myself a lot more. And of course, spending time with my family. I've learned to live life with being surrounded with like 3 or 4 people at the most. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna, for sharing your heart out to us. We could tell that you're speaking your heart out. We wish you all the very best, and we really hope and wish this world changes for better soon. Good luck. Thank you so much for being with us. And with this, a little recap of today's enriching session. Since we don't know what kind of world we are heading for, I think the take-home message for today is that give our children life skills. Give them a very strong framework of values. Make them strong from within. Make them resilient, confident, so that whatever new normal throws at them, they sustain, they survive, and come out victorious. With this, I would like to request Mr. K.L. Malhotra ji to say a few words as concluding remarks.
Madhu, hope we have not missed any. Sure, we have covered all the panelists.
Dr. Rajiv will join later.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. I express my gratitude all the learned speakers who have given their thoughts in resolution of day-to-day issues faced by children. ICHR has conducted 9th webinars. Today is the 9th one, and we have already covered this webinar on wellness and new normals, but that was for in general. And today, under the inspiration of Mrs. Oswald, Child in a Power Project, its director, Madhuruchi ji, has taken this initiative to organize this seminar. And all the speakers, they talk about change, they talk about opportunities, they talk about alternatives, they talk about busyness. Rather, they talk about that there is a tough challenge. So these are issues. We have to resolve these issues. And it is our job from time to time do such seminars or awakening camps so that we can bring together the ideas to parents, to students, to teachers, so that they can resolve these issues which is not possible immediately. It is easy to make statements. To cut short, I have composed few lines. It is time together to do something. It is time together do something. Children are at risk, but their minds are awake. Their voices still ring tune. Their voices still ring true. Their words still inspire. Can you hear them? Let us protect a generation. Let us be prepared to rewrite the future for the children under this. With these words, I express my thanks to all the participants and especially Mrs. Oswal, Mrs. Madhuruchi Lamba, and our Gaurav Gupta, who is the coordinator one. And I am thankful that the speakers, we have missed one speaker, but all these speakers, they have expert opinion. We value their expert opinions and we will take them forward. Thank you.
I would like to say a few words.
Mukta, has David joined? Gaurav?
No,
if you can find out, has David joined?
No, we have Air Marshal Naresh Verma with us. And Dr. Rajiv is left and is about to speak.
Okay. Okay, now I request Dr. Rajiv Kumar to say vote of thanks.
Thank you so much. I would like to express, my views also, if you allow me, for 2 minutes.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, I have experienced a few things in this COVID period because I myself is a visiting professor in IIFT and I am taking classes for very senior executives also. And I also conduct classes in rural areas in the schools. So what I observed that the main thing in rural area was that they don't have, the children of my schools are not having laptops. So we conducted the classes through mobiles, which I had learned in Lesotho. I was in Lesotho for some time in South Africa, and I saw there they were teaching through, because in some of the classes only 1 or 2 children were there. So they were teaching through mobiles, and the same strategy we adopted here. And the problem was that even the families are having only 1 mobile, and when the farmer is going to his field, the mobile cannot be used by the child. So that was a very big problem and challenge. All these problems we have tried to solve, and we used to give them lecture and then notes, and when the farmer come back, he will give his mobile and they will use. And another problem I have seen, the very interesting part is that all this stress is not always negative. This stress has given some positive aspects also in life. And अकेला ही चलेगा वो, किसी का साथ भी क्या है, जो मंजिल चूमना चाहे उसे दिन रात ही क्या. So it has broken very barriers. So many barriers have been broken. Now families are more friendly with them, and children are sharing so many things. Value education has taken place all the time. 24 hours spending in homes is not an easy task. So we are sharing stories, we are sharing value systems, we are sharing our forefathers experiences and so many things are being shared and people are using. I'm also learning different things and children are also learning. So that is very interesting. It is really a great and wonderful opportunity for me also to learn from eminent speakers. I'm grateful to all the guests who have come here and delivered the lectures and their suggestions. And I am grateful to Dr. Aruna Oswalji, who has conducted this wonderful webinar, and also Madhuruchi ji, and those who have all guests and eminent speakers and ICHR dignitaries for sparing their valuable time here for this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Mrs. Oswal, ma'am, can I request you to just wind it up and recap it?
Yeah, of course. I was looking for this opportunity actually. I was so impressed with the speakers today that they all had some experiences to share with us. Some had with some, doctors, maybe they have with some patients, and the teachers who have with students. And then I could be able to know from Mukta, of course, for the special children, how they are going to be virtually guided. And I think every speaker, they were expert in their own ways. And they tried to explain how at this time of COVID-19, which is really, really pandemic, we call it, it is not only in India or in Delhi, but it is all over the world, how we can cope with it. And we need to be positive, otherwise you can't stay at home. Like everybody's saying, we have to stay at home and we can't go anywhere out. And I think if I talk about my experience, it is a blessing in disguise. Somebody said also the same thing, diversity into opportunity. Yes, because I have learned a lot in these 6 months. You won't believe it. I am a person, everybody can vouch for it, that I used to travel at least 15 days a month. At least 15 days a month since so many years. And everybody is so shocked. In my family also, they are surprised how I can stay 6 months. I have not crossed my gate of the house. I have not gone out anywhere. So I think, but we have taken it very positively. And if you want to learn something, you need to be positive. And we have learned so many things. What is the benefit of these webinars? I'm telling you, this situation. If I travel, I'll go to just one place. If I have to travel to maybe Bombay or maybe other places, maybe out of India, I'll travel only one place and come back. But now sitting at home, we have been able to attend internationally also, nationally also. So many webinars, so many learning experiences, and international webinars which I'm talking about, which I had never been able to attend, my Religion for Peace meetings. And now I've been attending all the meetings sitting at home. So for me, I think it is a great opportunity. I think for all of you, it should be a great opportunity. This time has come and we need to take it positively. Ye time to nikal jayega. But we'll remember these times forever because it has given us a lot of strength. It has given us a lot of positivity. It has given us a lot of experiences, which we can never get in our lives. So that Anna shared her experience that she was little bit of stressed of that case. She has to stay home. But I will advise Anna that take it as a positively. You can learn so many things sitting at home, beta, and be positive. Don't worry, you'll get admission in a very big university because you must be working very hard virtually also. So our blessings are there for each one of you. But I would like to advise that let us be positive and let us stay at home, take care of yourself, because this month, these 1 or 2 months are very crucial. We are hearing from the news that the cases are increasing everywhere around the globe. In UK, they are going to have again lockdown. They're going to do it. So, wherever you are moving out without any reason, don't go without any reason out for coffees or maybe for malls. We have done in our life so much these things. Can't we stay home if there is no emergency? If there is emergency, I understand. But we need to stay home and we need to take care of ourselves also and our children also. And this is the time to reinvent yourself. अपने mind, body and soul को जानिए पहचानिए. मुझे तो बहुत मौका मिला है and I am really using it in a positive manner. And I think all of you will. And I will just conclude with these very beautiful lines of Amitabh Bachchan. गुजर जाएगा, मुश्किल बहुत है, वक्त ही तो है, गुजर जाएगा. गुजर जाएगा, मुश्किलें बहुत हैं, वक्त ही तो है, गुजर जाएगा. जिंदा रहने का जज्बा फिर उभर कर आएगा. गुजर जाएगा, मुश्किल बहुत है, वक्त ही तो है, गुजर जाएगा. Let us work together, let us stay together, and let us try to understand this situation in a positive way. And I would like to thank now for taking this initiative, and of course Gaurav and Malhotra and all the speakers, panelists. They were really great. They were really very good, and I am very much impressed with their experiences. So thank you so much. Again, I would like to thank, as a chairperson of this Indian Council of Human Relations, I really thank you so much for being here with us, your knowledge and experience and influence. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Take care and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Good evening.
This too shall pass. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your blessings and guidance always. And thank you so much once, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are signing out.
Thank you, Gaurav, for all your help. Always support.
Thank you, Gaurav, for inviting me. Thank you so much. Everyone, have a good day. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.